Every month, I do a roundup of new products that have come out in the last month or so, products that I think you ought to know about, stuff that might fly right under the radar if I was to wait to do like a full review on it. But we're going to take a quick look at these new products and get our off-the-cuff thoughts about them. And I say we because I'm trying something new this month. I have invited somebody to come on with me and give their opinions too. It's Blunty. Welcome to the video.
Thanks, Joshua. I really appreciate the invite.
Yeah, for sure. It's Blunty is you're on my Discord server, and we just had some good conversations. I like what you're doing over on your YouTube channel with some of the tutorials and some of the content that you're making. And so I thought, well, it's just, let's get two people in the room and have a little back and forth as opposed to just me talking for like 45 minutes.
Awesome.
Yeah. And I do talk for these videos sometimes go on for quite a while. If you need to, there is a link in the video description. There's a table of contents as well as links to all the products that we're going to talk about. And YouTube has started doing this new thing where they put markers in the timeline for each of the, you could hover over the timeline or scrub through the timeline and see each of the products. I've actually had some people get super mad at me because they think those little breaks in the timeline are ads. And they're like, whoa, why are there 27 ads for this? No, they're not ads. So you can just check that out and you can see if there are any products you're interested in, or you can just put it on in the background and listen to us go on and on about this stuff. And the first product that I think we have to talk about this month, probably the biggest release this month, is the GoPro Hero 9 Black. So let's run down the GoPro Hero 9 Black. It's got 5K. That's good. But it's freaking enormous. It's like 160 grams or something compared to
30 grams over the other.
30 grams over the Hero 8, which was itself like 20 grams heavier than the Hero 7. So we've gone up in weight. Well, let's just throw it out there. Are we all going to switch to the Hero 9? Do you have a thought?
I personally think the Hero 8 seems like the best option still. The price is only going to go down. Support's still there. Worst case, you get a replacement from Best Buy, and you're going to get a Hero 9 when you do it. So I think to me, it's a no-brainer to stick with the 8. 8's got support. The interesting thing with the 9 to me is integrated real steady.
Well, the 8 had hypersmooth boost, right?
Right.
What is the 9's got integrated real steady? I know that GoPro bought Real Steady Go.
Yeah, now it's like part of the camera. So you're getting real steady in the camera, I believe.
I did not know. I mean, hypersmooth boost was pretty good. It was not, I mean, it was arguably, there was a kind of, I thought it was kind of a coin toss. Like if you didn't want to do the post-processing, you use hypersmooth boost to give you a pretty good cinematic. But then if you really wanted manual control, you do real steady. Now it's got real steady in the camera.
I believe so, yeah. Let's see exactly what that means. But that's what I've been hearing.
You think maybe they've just taken some of that real steady technology and put it into the camera and they're calling it Hypersmooth 3.0. Like I see some videos that people have put out comparing Hypersmooth 3.0 versus Real Steady Go.
Gotcha. Yeah, that very well may be the case.
Maybe they're just putting some of that tech in there. I got to say, I've always thought that Hypersmooth 2.0 was a little bit more smoothing than I want out of freestyle. Like I know there are some freestyle pilots out there that use it. Their stuff looks good, but it always just looks a little bit like it's got the edges rounded off to me. It's just a little too smooth.
I think you have to be going for a certain look. You know, I think that you want that look if that's the freestyle video you're making, because it's definitely an obvious effect.
It feels obvious. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I think so. And so if Hypersmooth 3.0 is even more than that, it seems like that's not going the right direction for freestyle pilots, at least by my standards. But if you're someone who does cinematic stuff, if you do like mountain cruising, like Hypersmooth was so good at getting rid of just those little vibes that would ruin your shot. So I could definitely see those people going for it. But we gotta talk about the weight. I mean, is the weight worth it? What are you getting? You're getting better stabilization, which I would argue freestyle pilots aren't really going to want. You're getting 5K resolution, which I would argue that, like, who needs 5K? Pros need 5K. People making content for YouTube, I don't see the point of 5K.
Yeah, Steele mentioned that he was going to use it for a specific shoot and then return his Hero 9s. Because he said that some guy wanted 5K really bad, so he was going to do the 5K and then send it back.
This front-facing color LCD screen, good for vlogging. I like the fact that if you're holding the camera up for like vlogging, like Hypersmooth is so good for handheld walk and talks. The stabilization is so good, but so many times I frame it wrong. Having it on the front is nice. For freestyle though, just gonna break.
Just one more thing to break.
So it just feels to me like GoPro's going the wrong direction for freestyle pilots with this thing. Even the 8, I'm still on the 7. I do think the 8 looks better when I see some of the footage that like Drib gets on the 8. It does look good, but I just can't bring myself to carry the weight and the price.
It is a lot of weight.
Yeah. But you were just telling me before we started, there's a whole bunch of people who are post like Tommy, oh my God, are saying they're going to it.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of people moving over to it. Just like the Hypersmooth 3 is, one better than Hypersmooth 2, I think. And if it's enough to not use Real Steady, that's a kind of another piece to the puzzle. I think if you can make content like that, maybe it's easier workflow for you. Maybe it's, however it would work out.
I could see that. Especially if you're a pro, like a cinematic pro versus a freestyle pilot. They did give us back the removable lens cover. So that's
yes. Big, and there's a new lens cover that's like a special, I don't remember what they're calling it, but there's a different kind of lens you can put on it that they sell.
Oh, like an ND filter or something? Or
no, it's like a 1 inch or
thicker. Here it is, the Max Lens Mod. Unbreakable Max Hypersmooth stabilization and Max. Oh, it's like a wide angle mod. Oh, yeah, that's the first thing I've seen that is actually kind of compelling to me. Like, one of the things that has always set GoPro apart from their competition is the wide angle super view, that you get just more, and everybody else just looks cropped in. To be able to have even wider angle is kind of appealing.
Yeah, and it's cool that it's just an easy lens swap that's like meant to work for the device. That seems to me like they could do more of that.
Yeah, maybe they're feeling the heat from Insta360 with their ability to change out the different mods.
True. Yeah, Insta360 seems like the competition.
Yeah, I mean the image quality from the Insta360 is okay, but nowhere near GoPro level. But the price is right. Well, I'll say this: I have never been the guy who buys the new GoPro when it comes out, just because, as you mentioned earlier, the price. As soon as the new GoPro comes out, you can get the last one, which is still really freaking good, for even cheaper. Right now, you can get a refurbished Hero 6 for like $150 if you can find them in stock. You can get refurbished Hero 7s for around $200, and that is just, when you ask me to pay $400 for something else, I'm just like, I can't do it. I do own one Hero 8, but I almost never actually put it on a quad. So
yeah, I saw yesterday there was a coupon code for 25% off the Hero 8 Black. So I think right now that's $250, and that's off GoPro's website.
It also bugs the crap out. Can I just say, it bugs the crap out of me that you have to change out all your mounts. So I like to use mounts that are screwed directly to the quad, not like strap-on mounts. That doesn't sound right. So if I have a bunch of Hero 8s or a bunch of Hero 7s and like one Hero 9, I can't use it because my mounts doesn't fit my mounts.
Right, very true.
So, all right, that's the Hero 9 Black. That's the new product. Let's move on. We talked a lot about the Hero 9 Black. We're going to go a little quicker on many of the other products. The next place we're going to go is we're going to get a couple of Rotor Riot products out of the way. And I have to confess that, like, I'm a Rotor Riot cast member. So oftentimes I kind of just subconsciously put blinders on when it comes to Rotor Riot products because I don't want to unfairly seem like I'm promoting them just because I'm friends with those guys. But at the same time, then it leads me to ignore the products. And that's not fair either. So this came out a couple months ago. I meant to mention it and I didn't. This is the Rotor Riot Digiwhoop. This is a Caddx Vista Digiwhoop built and tuned. 1106 or 1104 motors. Definitely 1106 is going to be the way to go there. And a little, what is it, 2-inch props? Yeah, Gemfan 2-inch props. That's a pretty slick little quadcopter. $350.
I think it's a cool offering, and it was pretty early. You know, that's been out for just a little bit here. I think the biggest issue with it is weight. You know, you're trying to force the Vista into this, and you know, we might talk about it later, but there's that new beta product with the Vista that's torn down.
Yeah,
and I kind of think like that's the direction people have to go. You know, I'm sure this is a great, fun product to fly, and I'm sure most of the people that have bought it are happy with it, similar to like the A85.
Mm-hmm.
But I really feel like the weight is the killer here. You know, you're going to fly it and you're going to feel the weight when you're trying to pull through the split S's, when you're cruising through the park. You're going to feel that weight, and you're not going to be able to freestyle it like a much lighter quad. Now, can you get that in a Vista unit? I don't think you could until people started tearing them down.
Yeah, it makes me think. I mean, by sheer coincidence, I just flew this Vista Tiny Whoop. This is these are 3-inch props. Yeah, these are 3-inch props with 1303 motors, and I think this comes in around 125 grams as flown. I thought it flew okay. But this is 3-inch props carrying the Vista, and that thing's trying to do 2-inch props. So, I mean, there's a question of how small are you willing to go, and how much you're giving up to get that small.
I think we also have to bring up the price. The price is a bit of a premium. You know, if you look at the A85, I believe that's quite a bit cheaper.
Let's check out the A85. That's the Alpha. Is that the iFlight A85?
Alpha A85. Yep.
Yeah, wow. iFlight Alpha A85, $250. Let's put a receiver in it. No receiver, because we're going to be using the DJI radio. That's comparable to the choose options. No, that's it. Just $250. Yeah, that looks pretty. How are the specs compare? That looks like a pretty similar product.
Yeah, they do seem to be pretty similar.
1303, 5000 kV. Now that's interesting. Oh, that's a way bigger motor. 1303 versus 1106.
And that's probably that's very similar to what's on that toothpick build I think you have.
These are, I believe they are, it doesn't, 1303, 5000 kV. That's exactly right. So clearly iFlight has just built the exact same motor as Kebab did. I mean,
yes.
I'm not going to take a position, but Kebab came up with this idea, then other people follow. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, you look across the road and you go, hey, I like what's going on over there. Yeah, so you do it too.
We should mention that it's likely a 1.5 millimeter stator, where Bob's motors are 2 millimeter stators, so you do get a little bit of extra.
Yeah, the extra the shaft on these small motors is definitely a weak spot.
Or shaft, rather.
So, yeah. Okay, so the Rotor Riot Digiwhoop built in tune. Bear in mind, it is built in tune. You gotta put a little bit of value on that. Like, literally, there's just a guy in the warehouse in Orlando who sits there and builds these all day. Built and tuned. I mean, you know, you tune it once and then you just copy the tune to all the others. It's not like they're hand tweaking every one. Some people will be willing to pay a little bit of a premium for that. But also it's in stock, which is saying a lot these days.
Very true.
But you compare it to the Alpha 85. Neither of these, I haven't flown either of these, so I can't really comment. But $100 premium is certainly asking something. And I mean, I feel like if you're going to go this direction, the 3-inch, I feel like you fly a 2-inch on a Vista. Like, I've flown the GEPRC Rocket Light. It flies okay, but you feel the weight. You fly on a 3-inch and you start to almost be like, oh, this is okay, I could do this. I feel like 3-inch is really the sweet spot for Vista, unless you just absolutely need 2 inches. So.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that.
Next product is another Rotor Riot product that's come out. This one, I can't decide how I feel about it. This is the Rotor Riot Racer PC. So what happened here is Rotor Riot partnered with Apex Gaming, who is a PC manufacturer. They don't like manufacture, the OEM. And they have a customized Rotor Riot branded PC. And the idea here is that people are like, I want to play Liftoff, but I don't know what specs computer I need. And the guarantee is that even the base model will be able to like play Liftoff or other simulators at decent frame rates. $900. I don't know. I'm not enough of a PC enthusiast to say whether this is a good deal. Obviously, there's going to be a little bit of markup on it because Rotor Riot's got to take their chunk. But I don't know. Are you a PC enthusiast, Plenty?
Yeah, I ran some numbers on this with some of the guys in the Discord. I think we ended up looking around 1 to 200 as a premium, versus building this yourself. So it's custom built. It's got a Rotor Riot logo on it. It's coming from a company that's going to support it for you. There's a lot of benefits here. I don't think it's that bad of a deal. I think the biggest issues are the choices that they made for the parts, right? Because if you're custom building, you're getting to choose those parts. Whereas like, if you look at the premium option, it's a 1660 Super. We're looking at the 30 series coming out.
That's not that premium.
It's not that premium.
I mean, I understand why they didn't put like a 2070 in there. The 20 series was, I feel like the 20 series wasn't the sweet spot for price versus performance. But even the 1660 Super isn't that premium. So, Ryzen, they got Ryzen in there. Yeah, I think $100 to $200 premium versus building it yourself, that feels about right for a pre-built PC. I'm sure there's builders that would do it for less.
Yeah, I believe that's around the same price as like you get from a premium builder service from most other companies. So I think that's pretty fair. And it's got a Rotor Riot logo on it. And again, you're supporting a company that's in America. So
some people, well, who knows who builds the computer, but yeah, you are supporting Rotor Riot. And the Rotor Riot logo is slick. All right, so there's that. And you can even get it with the liftoff license key pre-installed. Okay. By the way, as we continue, a reminder that there are links to all of these products down in the video description, and those links are affiliate links. Well, most of them are. And that's one of the ways that you can support the channel. If you click those links, you make any purchase after you click those links. Even if you don't want to buy the Rotor Riot PC, click the Rotor Riot link. It's an affiliate link. You buy anything from the Rotor Riot store or any of the other affiliated stores, I get a small commission, and it really helps me out. So one more Rotor Riot product we're going to grab, and Blenty, I'm going to tell you, I'm being totally self-serving here. I don't like the stock DJI goggle strap. Do you fly DJI?
Yes.
What do you think of the stock? Is your dog's barking? That's okay. Dog's gonna dog, Don't stress about it.
I do have the DJI stock strap, and I am definitely looking for another option. I don't think it does a great job at all. It doesn't hold a battery. It kind of straps up the top of your head strangely. The sides come in Velcroed all the time. Yep. I have so many issues with it. The
number one thing that I don't like about it is the strap over the top of the head. Something about the way it puts pressure on my head gives me like a headache if I wear the goggles for too long. And I don't know why. And not everybody suffers from this. But this strap, I saw that Rotor. So I wanted to get a fat strap, a hot dog strap. That's it. Hot Dog FPV went out of business. He stopped making them. So like, okay, well, what am I going to do? And then Rotor Riot came up with these, and I was like, please send me 3 of them. And Drew said, okay, but will you please mention that we have them? I was like, well, that's the least I could do. And he also said, will you please mention that we gave them out in Quad Box? So a little plug for Quad Box. I'm not wearing a Quad Box t-shirt at this moment. It would be nice if I was. Quad Box puts cool stuff. It's a subscription box. And in exchange for plugging it right now, I got 3 free goggle straps. And, hey, you got to do what you got to do. I do like these goggle straps. I have. I do like it. It's thicker. It's a little bit flimsier than like the FatStraps or the hot dog straps were made out of really thick fabric. It's a little bit thinner. I might like it to be a little thicker, but it means it does mold to your head a little better. But I like it way better than the stock one, and it's $15.
What size battery fits in that side holster?
I don't know about that. Like, I think it's probably sized for like the Fat Shark battery case, although no one should use that with their DJIs because it doesn't last very long. I mean, I guess whatever if you want to swap it out.
Yeah, they made a DJI specific version of that case, I think, right?
I don't know. Did they? Fat Shark did? No.
Not DJI. Whoever makes those Fat Shark cases. I don't know if it's third party but I saw one specifically for DJI.
No, I hadn't seen that. So since we talked about head straps, I also wanted to show these. These are FatStraps. These are another head strap. It's a little more expensive than the Rotor Riot strap, but it's a little bit thicker and comes in a lot of interesting designs. So, and they're actually in stock. The last time I tried to order them, they were out of stock. So the Rotor Riot strap, $15. FatStraps, $23, $24. But you get the designs, you get tons of designs. and I think it's a little bit heavier fabric. One thing I will say is these are 2-inch straps. I don't know. Do you have an opinion about 2-inch versus 1.5-inch straps?
I definitely think the smaller strap is nicer. It really depends on the goggle fit, but I think the smaller strap can be nicer as long as it holds on your head, you know?
I agree. The 2-inch straps, to me, they like overlap my ears and like press on my ears. I think the 1.5-inch strap is just perfect. So FatStraps, make 1.5-inch straps. I don't know. That's my opinion.
Another quad that we could look at is the GEPRC Thinking P16.
All right.
I think it's fairly comparable with the Rotor Digiwhoop and the A85.
All right, let's pull that up.
Something to note about this one is that this does have the CADX Nebula on it, but it brings it in at a little bit lighter weight. I
was just noticing that. Yeah. Well, now, what are the specs on this guy? This one is 79 millimeters, 1103 motors, very similar. 64 grams without battery, so with battery, respectable weight. Respectable, but to me personally, the Nebula is a deal breaker.
That's fair. I think a lot of people feel the same way.
But do you have an opinion about that?
I personally have not flown the Nebula, but I do think the Nebula looks quite a bit worse. I mean, sometimes it looks worse than analog at some points.
Oof.
Depending on where you fly it, you know, and how you're getting there. So
yeah, I have a review of the Nebula V1 that I posted, and I basically said the Nebula is 5 grams, 4.5, 5 grams lighter, and it's 14 millimeters wide instead of 19 millimeters wide. So if you like just absolutely need a 14 millimeter wide camera with DJI, the Nebula is the one to get. But the image quality is so much worse. And then CADX released V2 of the Nebula, and the image quality is better, but I think it's still pretty bad. And anything with a Nebula on it, I just kind of go, hold my nose. Next big product to come out recently is this. I have in the past said I did not think this would ever happen. It seems like the way to make sure that something happens is for me to say that I don't think it'll ever happen, because that happened with high definition digital video. And now people said when Crossfire first came out, will they make a light module compatible module so you could put it in your FreeSky X Lite? And I was like, the whole reason FreeSky made the light module was to prevent people from why would Crossfire support them? And apparently they have, because you can now get a light module Crossfire to put on your FreeSky X Lite. And there's even a retrofit kit if you already have a micro module to do it. So I would have seen that coming.
Yeah, I don't even know what to say about it because it's so like kind of front and center, you know?
Yeah. Just like TBS is like, I don't care. Sure, we'll put it on a FreeSky. I wonder if this means that TBS feels like they're winning. You see what I'm getting at?
TBS feels like they're winning.
Compared to FreeSky.
I think with the R9 price drop, or with the price drop versus R9, you know, that was their big push to go like, hey, we're going to beat FreeSky. And now this is, hey, if you need to put this on a radio, go for it. Don't worry about a modulation kit. Also, if you need to put this on the back of your Tango 2 with the module bay add-on, you can do that as well, because you can get 1 watt out of the V2. And so far, there's only 500 milliwatts confirmed in the V3 Tango.
That's really interesting. Now that brings us to, this is what I had queued up for next, but let's bring this up. So they've released a module bay add-on for the Tango 2 that lets you install a light module. And the reason for that, as I understand it, is that they have adapted, here's this product, they have adapted their control board. The V3 control board allows you to support the light module bay so that you can plug in like an iRange X 4-in-1 module. And that solves the number one problem that I had with the Tango when it first came, the Tango 2, when it first came out, which is that it didn't support 2.4 gigahertz modules. Now you can bind a Tango 2 to a FreeSky radio, a FlySky radio, etc. And I'm really happy to see them doing that. But you've just pointed out that you can also use that to put this 1 watt micro module on your Tango 2 and get higher output power, which I hadn't thought of.
And just to be, clear, like they do have technically the same internals. They both have micro TX V2 internals, but currently, as far as I know, they've only released 500 milliwatts for the Tango 2 V3. I'm not sure that we'll see it because of heat issues for the full 1 watt. So this may be that solution for Tango 2 owners.
Yeah, my understanding is they want to get to 1 watt, but they don't want to do it if it compromises longevity and reliability, and they're having issues with heat dissipation inside their radio.
I think one thing everybody can say about TBS is these Crossfire modules are extremely resilient.
For sure.
And that being said, they don't want to compromise that in any way, which I can totally understand.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And frankly, 500 milliwatts, 1 watt's better, but 500 milliwatts is still pretty freaking good.
Yeah.
You're going to get a lot of range off of 500 milliwatts Crossfire. So the next product we talked about, Crossfire, we got to mention ImmersionRC Ghost. ImmersionRC Ghost is not a new product this month, but it is new that it's actually shipping to customers this month. That's right. Tony Cake just posted on the ImmersionRC Hub today saying they had finally actually shipped vendor orders. Took longer than expected. Apologies, yada, yada, whatever. And the first 2 vendors got their orders shipped. And so everyone was like, who are the first 2 vendors who will be getting their orders? Would you like to try to guess who they were?
The first 2 vendors to get their orders would be Race Day Quads and BetaFPV.
Correct. So that was my thought, because I think of them as the biggest stores.
Yeah.
But apparently what really matters is just like when you order a product, you just get in line, right? And it turns out that GetFPV was not the fastest. So apparently the first 2 stores who are going to get their Ghost is Race Day Quads and Pyrodrone.
Aha.
So if you have a pre-order in for Ghost at Race Day Quads and Pyrodrone, it will, it's probably, how long is it going to take for it to ship from China? But it is on the way. And the rest are hopefully coming soon too. And by the way, I just posted a Ghost setup video. So if you want to check that out after you're done watching this, or if you get bored and you decide to click away, I'll put a link to that down in the video description. So the next product that I want to look at is this. This is the Nazgul V2. And the reason this is interesting to me is that I've been flying the iFlight Sidora SL5E, which is a $200 bind and fly quad that I've been liking a lot. And there's always been some confusion to me about what the difference is between the Nazgul and the Sidora. They seem very similar. Why do they both exist? Well, here's the Nazgul V2, and I still am not sure I know the answer to that question. So let's look at this, Blunty, and see if we can figure out what the deal is with this thing. Zingy 2207 motors seems like the same as the Sidora. Cadix Ratel, I think that's the same as the Sidora. XXE, it seems like this is the same as the Sidora. Am I missing something? Oh, this one's got LED strips. Sidora doesn't have that. Everything else looks the same.
Yeah, it does.
It looks identical. Okay, so it even looks like the same frame. So I have no idea why there is both a Sidora and a Nazgul V2, but maybe the Sidora SL5, not the Sidora SL5E. Maybe the SL5E has been discontinued? I don't know. This looks identical.
The only difference is really the frame.
Is it the frame is different? Is the SL5E like an H configuration?
No, they're just like a little bit. I'm trying to think. It does look a little taller, but yeah, they're very similar quad.
It's not identical though. The frame isn't the same. They don't have the battery strap notches here. So it is a slightly different frame. The arms are identical. Looks like it's just a little bit of a different top plate. I don't know. Very similar in almost every other way. I will say this though. They are selling the Nazgul in an HC version. This one seems to have a Vista, and I think I've seen some with an air unit in the back, although not 100% sure. So it looks like you're paying a $120 premium, $200 for the analog, $120 more, $320 for the DJI version, and that is pretty freaking slick. What do you think? Would you buy a $320 5-inch bind and fly from iFlight?
I think so. I think I like what they've seen so far, and your experiences have been really good. So yeah. I think it seems like a good quad for, either entry level or honestly anybody who just needs another quad. I think a lot of times it's just nice to have another quad around when you break stuff, you know?
I did that. I bought 3 Sedora SL5Es because I just had a bunch of broken quads and I was about to go on a trip. I literally just bought them. Which I know, like, oh, I bought my own quads. But total weight? What's the total weight? 400 grams without batteries. That's with the Vista. 400 grams, that's if you don't carry a GoPro. I mean, if you're running a Vista, you're probably going to run a GoPro. So you're going to have like 180 to 200. It's going to be 600 grams with the battery and maybe another. So 750, 760. It's not lightweight, but it's not the end of the world. So, all right.
It's under 800. So it's not super tough.
I mean, that's, yeah, I feel like it's somewhere between 750 and 800. I get really upset.
Yeah.
So here's a ready to fly quad from Diatone. What do you see about this that's different than other Cinewhoops? Let me bring up a big version of this screen.
Number one is it's a pusher.
That's right. The motors are upside down. It's a pusher. Does it matter? Like, I can't decide if this is hype or not.
I was going to say, that's more what I would say is I don't know that it matters. It looks cool.
Yeah. People say that having, I don't know. People say that having the props upside down means you get more thrust because there's less blockage of the prop line. But they have a ton of struts in here. And isn't the whole point of the ducts that like you get more efficiency because you're pushing air down into the duct?
Right. Yeah, that's what I've always understood too. You're kind of defeating the point of half the duct there, it looks like.
Not that the blades are close enough to the ducts to really get any of that efficiency gain anyway.
I wonder if this is a response or if the BetaFPV was a response, because there's also that BetaFPV pusher.
That's true. I have noticed that a lot of the micro guys, the guys in the 75 to 95 millimeter class, are flipping them over and making pusher builds. But it feels like for a quad in the Cinewhoop class that there's not as many benefits there to be gained. I'm not sure if this is hype or not, but yeah, there you go.
Talking about these smaller quads, and these hype trends, why don't we look at the FPVCycle 1S AIO?
Okay.
I think that looks like a really cool product. And it's Kebab FPV. Yeah. He's working really hard to develop products for the industry, and I think he's really pushing things forward, and this is no exception to that rule. He's worked with Z's on this board, and it actually has spots on the board for a Crossfire Nano and a Unify Pro 32 Nano.
Yeah. Yeah, these, when we say AIO, all in one here, we literally mean all in one. This is the ESC and the flight controller. And one of the things that people often struggle with these micros is just terrible range and terrible video. So it looks like Bob has solved all of these problems if the reliability is there. Any idea?
And I was going to say, the other big issue is reliability. There's already a V2 of this board that's being produced right now. That's supposed to be even better reliability. But so far, it seems much better than a lot of the 1S options we have now. I mean, personally, I bought the BetaFPV 1S AIOs, and about half of them just don't work out of the box.
Wow.
And I think that's kind of a common complaint, honestly, with a lot of people is you get dud boards of these 1S and they don't work, or the ESCs just blow up immediately. You get one flight out of them, and this board has not been the case at all. So.
Well, that's exciting. Yeah, it's always hard to know real numbers versus anecdotes. Like, I'd be shocked if the failure rate of the BetaFPV all-in-ones was 50%. Sure, Wait, which ones were you buying? Which amp rating?
The 6 amp? I can't remember exactly.
Oh, okay.
I'd have to go look.
Yeah, I've heard. I asked. I'm going to leave this person nameless, but it's a person who has sold a lot of those BetaFPV ones, and they said that as long as you got like the 30 amp one, the big one, it was okay. The little one's not as good.
I believe you're talking about the toothpick AIO versus the 1S AIO.
Oh, you're right. You're 100% right. Let me look up the BetaFPV 1S. Yes, thank you for that. Yeah, this is the one you're talking about, right?
Yes, and has been extremely unreliable. The other thing to point out is that Bob has made wonderful motor pads to solder to, as opposed to the previous situation we had, which was pull the plug out and try to solder into the plug slots.
Yeah. I mean, Bob's not afraid of a soldering iron. So if you're building a 1S, is this sized for whoops or sized for? It looks like it's sized for a toothpick, like with a cross.
It's that toothpick whoop, the 25 to 26.
I gotcha. Okay. And we'll find out. I mean, I don't know who Z's is, but hopefully they can do a better job than BetaFPV. BetaFPV, I go back and forth. It's like their stuff is not the worst in the world, but then sometimes they're a little, let's just say that they're a little inconsistent. They can be good, but they're not consistently good. So.
I'm 100% on the same page as you. I think some people buy them and they're excellent quads. They're a wonderful price and everything works out great. And then some people get products that just don't work out of the box or don't work pretty quickly, and it can be frustrating. So also I wanted to point out these Tinywhoop 27,000 kV Danger onesies. I believe Jesse's calling them the bottle rockets. And Jesse Perkins has made these with a specific warning.
I've seen
he's not responsible.
He says, I do not recommend these motors. These motors are way too fast for nearly all Tinywhoop builds you could think of. They're pretty much guaranteed to either blow up your flight controller, puff your battery, or to get too hot and seize. We have no guarantee and do not accept returns or refunds. That's like saying, that's like daring you to buy them. Look, they're sold out already.
Yeah, they sold out almost immediately. And I've seen some videos of them and they are amazing little motors. If you get the right, boards for them and it's what you're looking for, there's not much better you can get than 27,000 kV on 0802.
I mean, 27,000, typical 1S Tinywhoop motor for a 65 millimeter would be like 16,000 kV.
Yeah, 19,000, 19, and then I think 20? Mobula 6 Race is 25.
That's right. And when the Mobula 6 came out and the Meteor 65, and they had the 25,000 kV option, I was like, ooh, this is going to be pretty hard on the batteries. And Jesse Perkins was just like, let's just keep going. Let's see what we can do.
Push the limit.
They also have a one-piece bell.
Yes, Unibell design. Yep.
They're going to be a little more durable. Not that you're just going to blow them up anyway. All right. Well, there you go. Buy them if you dare.
So next up, I wanted to look at the Hummingbird F4 Pro. It's been out for a little bit, but Newbeedrone, I think, is really killing it with this SKU. It's $80. I mean, it's really hard to beat the quality of Newbeedrone for $80. This is comparable to the Mobula 6, and I think the Mobula 6 is like $85.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't have much more to say about this other than I flew it. I have one. It's great. It's a wonderful quad. And at the price point, I think this should be anyone's entry into brushless whoops that wants to get into brushless. If you're doing brushed, I think that Hummingbird or the Project Mockingbird looks really good that you looked at before.
Yeah.
I think, and then I imagine there will be a Project Mockingbird version of this quad coming out as well. That may be something to wait for.
I've always said that between BetaFPV, Happy Model, Mobula 6, and Newbeedrone makes much better whoop style quads, but they're also super expensive. And so here you're getting, for $80, that is literally the price of almost cheaper than a Mobula 6. And Mobula 6s are great when they fly, but then eventually they die, and they seem to die more than people would like. But this is running silverware, right?
Nope, this is a completely Betaflight quad.
Oh my gosh. I assumed they put a silverware flight controller in there to get the price down. No, it's an F4.
$80 F4, yep.
And Newbeedrone. So the only thing to wait for here is for Patrick Clark, who tuned the Hummingbird, the brushed version of the Hummingbird, to come out with a tune for this one. And then
and remember, you can always buy this. I mean, I flew the stock tune on it. I think it's great. But if you're waiting for that Patrick Clark tune, you can buy it now, fly it as much as you want, and then when that comes out, drop it right on the quad.
Yeah.
Most of the time it's the same quad, just with that tune put on it.
Well, that's really exciting. Yeah, and who'd have thought we'd see an $80 brushless whoop from Newbeedrone? I wouldn't have guessed that. I mean, the Hakrc is like $160, isn't it?
I think $130 now. I think they dropped the price on it.
I want to get one more tiny quad thing out of the way. I actually did this today. I built a naked GoPro 6. I gutted a GoPro 6 and I stuck it into one of these cases. And that's because BetaFPV sent me this. They sent me the Beta 95X and an Insta360 Go. I'm going to be working on an Insta360 Go versus GoPro Hero Naked 6. So I thought it was only fair to show this since this is a new product that's come out. You got any opinions about this, naked GoPros? Yes or no?
Yes. Yeah, it makes perfect sense to me. I think, the weight. We want the weight. It's all about, especially in a quad this size. You're trying to get certain places. Like the weight makes perfect sense to take off here. Similar to the naked Cat X Vista situation, I think. It makes perfect sense to me. And the fact that BetaFPV has built a system to do this, like a way for people to do this easily, and then is building quads around this, I think is just really cool. They did a contest where they did only, I think it was only naked GoPros. On a 95X for a video contest, and just some of the stuff they're doing here I think is really neat.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think you should run a naked GoPro on a Bando Slayer freestyle quad. I think you're going to destroy it. But the idea behind this style of quad is that, I mean, a lot of people are flying it in a way that you crash less, and when you crash, hopefully you have less energy. I don't know. I mean, I guess you could also argue that a Hero 6 is not that expensive if you get a refurb one, and maybe worth the risk. But I'm excited to try it out. The big question, and I don't know the answer, but the big question is, how is it going to compare to the Insta360 Go, which is also super lightweight? That's the charging case. Let me get the actual camera out. How do you get the camera out? There's the Insta360 Go. I've seen some crazy footage coming from the 360 Go. Like Bachrinder's been posting some stuff.
There's some awesome videos. And now I think there's this new thing you have to do where you're like analyzing a video and you're going, is that a real line or is that an Insta360 Go line?
Oh my God, you're right. Because the Insta360 Go is a 360 camera. So you can just put a flip or a roll in there that you didn't actually do. Yeah.
You go right up against a building, but you're flying sideways, but it looks like you're next to the
the Johnny FPV wall ride.
Yeah.
Except you'd need an invisible quad. It would have to be out of the shot.
Yeah. Depending on the angle. Yep.
You know what that reminds me of? I got a video about this coming out, or maybe by the time you see this, it'll already be out. This is the Stan FPV Cinebird. It holds the 360 cam so the whole quad is invisible.
That's so do some wall rides with that guy.
Yeah, fake it out. Yeah, I'm really curious. I think it's a given that the GoPro is going to give better footage than the Insta360 Go, like it has to. Otherwise, just there's no point in living. But it's how much better, because you could put an Insta360 Go on a freaking 65 millimeter whoop and fly it, and you're not going to do that with a naked GoPro, I think.
Sure. I mean, I hope it gets pretty. The Hero 6 came out quite a while ago. So hopefully technology's come to the point where we can at least get a pretty decent video off that.
You think the Insta360 Go might have a chance?
I do think it does have. I mean, the videos look amazing off of it that I've seen, and Hero 6 is starting to get dated. So
it's true.
I'm interested to see what it looks like.
There are people who are gutting their Hero 8.
Yes.
And I'm like, I mean, maybe if you're like a professional and it's a business expense, but I was nervous to gut my Hero 6. Never mind.
Yeah, that's
8,
fair.
But
fair enough. Yeah, I think you're not too worried about money, or like you said, you're writing it off at that point.
Tiny, lightweight quadcopters. Let's go to a thick boy quadcopter. This is the Zebroy Promethius. And what makes it interesting is that it is a quote-unquote full titanium 5-inch drone frame. I say quote-unquote because it's not actually full titanium. It's got some carbon parts. Let me see if I can get that in. Yeah, so it's got some. It's not 100% titanium, but it's made out of freaking titanium. Now, Blunty, when you think of titanium things, what's the number one characteristic that titanium things have?
Weight.
You use titanium because it's lightweight. You want to save weight. How much do you think this frame weighs? Do you know?
Already? I do not know.
What would you guess this frame weighs? I'm just going to put you on the spot.
I'm hoping 75 grams.
Oh, yeah. Because you get a carbon fiber frame, you'll get it down to, I mean, you could get a carbon fiber frame down to but a frame like this, it's going to weigh 140 grams, let's say, in carbon.
Pure carbon, 100%. This
frame weighs 186 grams.
Whoa.
So it's $170. It's made of titanium.
$1 per gram.
And it's 180 grams. So
wow.
I mean
I better not have to ever buy another frame.
Yeah, it better never break.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't see it.
Can you imagine just take your freestyle quad, add 100 grams.
100 grams.
It's like, geez.
Maybe not quite.
But even at 70,
least 40
like,
grams.
You know, we're talking about the GoPro weight. Like, think about this.
Yep.
Wow.
So this to me, it doesn't make sense to me. I've talked about it on a live stream before. It's clever. It may be super durable, but it feels like it's going to fly like crap. If you could find a place to make up that 40 grams, like let's say you assume you're starting with a 140 gram freestyle frame, and then you're going to build it out and you're going to end up at, let's say, 700 grams or 600 grams or whatever. And then you're going to stick a GoPro on it. Well, maybe you go from a Hero 7 down to a Session, and that saves you. And then you swap it out. But I just don't know. I don't know. I can't see. And God forbid you break something.
I think this had to be made, but I don't know how many people it's for. That's what I would say.
I agree. Except I'm not sure it had to be made either. But I respect you for saying that. All right. So let's talk motors. You want to talk motors?
Let's do it.
Check this motor out. What the F is this?
Looks like a gumdrop. That's the first thing that comes to my mind. It does look like a gumdrop.
It looks like a gumdrop. Like, I guess there's no reason not to make what does it look like from the underside? Oh my goodness.
Oh man.
That's actually what it's shaped like. I thought maybe it was like splayed out and fake. That's actually what the stator's shaped like. Look how thick the bell is.
Yeah, this is interesting. So are the magnets riding like straight up and down in there? Or are they like angled as well?
I have no idea. I mean, can you see it from the top? I'm not sure if they're using arc magnets or what.
Yeah. Interesting.
I think it's so what they say they're going for here is like a super durable motor with thick bells.
Yeah, that bell looks real thick, that's for sure.
Here's a question that I have. So this is a 2207. First of all, what does it weigh?
Yeah,
what do you get?
Exactly. What does it weigh?
38 grams with the cable. Woo. That's like a heavy, like a 2306, a lightweight 2306 is going to be in the 26, 28 gram range. A heavy, like 2306 is going to be closer to 30. My 2208s are like 33. So you could be gaining, oh my God, compared to like a Mr. Steel Silk motor, which is I think 28 grams. You're going to gain 40 grams just in the motors.
It's a lot of weight.
Could go with the titanium frame for that much.
I was just thinking there's a build here, like how heavy can we get things?
No, let's not, please. Oh my God, please let's not. But I also kind of think that's a great idea, but no. The other question that I have is, how many times when you destroy a motor is it the bell versus the bearings or the shaft? I don't know. Fairly
rarely, I would say. In my experience, anyway, if I'm beating up the bell, it's still flying. You know, it depends on how hard you hit it.
Yeah. So
but is it worth 10 grams a motor or 5 grams a motor even for that somewhat occurrence? And what do these cost?
They're $22, so not too expensive.
That's not too bad. Yeah.
And they still use the 9x4x4 bearing that's used by almost all motors, as opposed to the iFlight Cyber Zing motor, I believe, has the 10 millimeter bearing. So they've beefed up the bell. It's at least 5 grams per motor heavier than anything else. Maybe if you're like a super noob and you crash a lot and you're not going to notice the extra weight because you're not flying real aggressively anyway. It looks awesome. I'll give it that. Good job, Brother Hobby. I don't know if I would recommend this product, but I think there's a pilot out there for this, the right product for.
I want to make a candy-themed quad. These look like gumdrops, man. I just cannot get the gumdrop out of my head.
Yeah, that's true. Then make a motor that looks like that, but with a thinner bell that doesn't weigh. Well, continuing to talk about motors, from one weird-looking motor to a pretty freaking good-looking motor. Look at this. RcInPower. RcInPower's always made really well-machined motors. This thing.
I love the look of this motor.
Yeah. I think it's the single-piece bell. I guess they could be hiding a seam, but I think RcInPower is it may have been the first to make single-piece bells, perhaps.
Yeah. I really like RcInPower. They make all Kebab's motors.
Oh, do they?
Excellent. Yep.
I think they don't get as much credit as a manufacturer. Like everybody thinks, oh, T-Motor or iFlight the Zing series has come out with really good budget motors. RcInPower has always made super high quality motors, but they just have never seemed to have gotten super popular. I'm not sure why. Gold gunmetal. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, I like how it keeps the gold on the inside.
Yeah. Now they say that it has a large bearing for super smooth flights. I could not find anywhere where they actually gave the bearing diameter.
Seems to be a common problem.
Yeah. So is it like the 10 millimeter bearing like the Cyber Zing? That would really help it distinguish it. It says it has a 4 millimeter shaft diameter. So a 9x4x4 bearing would have a 4 millimeter internal shaft. But maybe they're using a 10x4 bearing. I don't know if that's even a thing, but
I wish I could taller find the answer. Too, right?
I wish I could find the answer, but I searched and searched. Well, I searched for like 5 minutes before this video and I couldn't find it. So there you go. RcInPower Wasp motor, $23. That's not cheap, but it's not the most expensive either. Yeah, a bunch of different KVs. The other thing I noticed about this, look at the size. 22.6 by 6.6. Like,
why?
Why? You should just make it 2207? 2206? I don't know. Everybody got to put decimals in their motors now.
I'm just confused. What are they trying to say it is?
Well, a 2206 motor is 22 millimeters diameter by 6 millimeter height. This is a 22.6 millimeter diameter by 6.6 millimeter height. So it's almost a 2307, but not quite.
I see. So I see.
Yeah. But you couldn't designate. It would have to be a 22666, which would just drive everybody crazy. From a expensive-ish motor to a cheaper-ish motor, this is the Flash Hobby Arthur. This is legit new this month. Some people are claiming, and I don't know why they say this, some people are claiming that this is the rebirth of the DYS, what's the freaking Samguk motor. It's not as cheap as a Samguk. Samguks were like $12. I don't know. I don't know if I have anything to say about these motors. For $18, would you like how much is a Zing? And are in a bunch of different sizes. 1408, 1106. If anybody knows anything about these motors, let us know. You know anything about these motors, Blunty?
I do not. I've heard the same thing you did, that it's DYS, but I don't know the source for that.
We know DYS went out of business.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The Samguk motors were not great, but they were worth the price because the price was super cheap. I always used to say, if you're a beginner who's going to just smash the crap out of your motors anyway, you may as well buy Samguks. But if your motors last more than a couple months, they're gonna wear out on you before you break them. They were like as little as like $8, I think.
Wow, that's a cheap motor.
Yeah,
it's like Emax.
I think I got one more motor on here, and that is the Amax Super Leggera. Again, this is not a company I'm familiar with, but it's a $15 2305.5 motor. Looks fairly nicely machined. It reminds me of the Newbeedrone smooth motors, actually. The bell design kind of does.
Yeah, I'll say I've never flown AMAX, but I've heard a lot of good things about AMAX. I think the traditional, like when somebody builds like a TP3, if the 1303s are out of stock, you're looking for the AMAX 1204s.
Yeah.
AMAX seems to be a pretty solid motor company.
Are they more well, I mean, who knows, maybe I just missed them. Are they more well known with the smaller motors and maybe now they're moving up to bigger ones, or have they always made bigger ones?
I think they've always made bigger motors. I think they're just kind of people don't really know about them as much.
Yeah.
A couple guys on Ciati's Discord fly them, so I just happen to know them.
$15 for a 2305. That's a fairly big motor too. 2305. Yeah. That's a honker. $15 for a motor like that, 1750 kV. I mean, that's a fine price. That's a price where I'm not suspicious of how low it is yet.
I'll say that like that motor is almost certainly worse than a $24 motor. I mean, that's just how it works, right?
Right.
So like you're making sacrifices in that cost. You know, Bob talked about that a lot when he made his custom versions of the Smookses. Mm-hmm. There are certain decisions you have to make, like bearing quality or stator quality or metals that you're building the shaft out of, those sorts of things. And those decisions are like the major price spot you're landing in. So just remember that this motor isn't going to be like a $24 motor, but I bet it's a pretty good quality motor for the price.
Yeah. I think you're right about that. The question is just what's your price versus quality point? Yep. Other motors in this, what else is out there in this price point? There's the Zing E. Let's see. The Zing E, I mean, you can find a Zing E 2208. That's roughly comparable. That's going to be $15. Let's see. What else is out there at this $15 price point? You think of anything?
Emax Ecos, I think, are like 12-ish, somewhere in there.
They make a 2207. I don't think they make a 2208. It's a little bit of a smaller motor. That's okay. That's I agree. That's kind of comparable. Well, continuing in the list of vendors who have made a new motor line, Flywoo. Flywoo like came out of nowhere with their they have the Cinewhoop. They started making ready to fly quads. They started making flight controllers, and now they're making motors. And they have a whole line of motors from 1202. There's the Robo and the Nin line. Looks like the Nin is maybe a little bit more upmarket with the gold. They've always had this is one of the reasons I haven't been excited about them as much. And this is so unfair to them, but they have this real like silver and gold flashy aesthetic. It just is not my thing. I don't know. You have any experience with Flywoo stuff?
I don't. I thought these would be your style though. If you did these with some
gold.
purple.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe.
They look so shiny.
They do. It also looks like a single piece bell. The Flywoo Nin and then the Robo. Nin is $32. Well, that's a 2806. I guess let me find a more reasonably sized motor. 2306.5 for the Nin. Gold or titanium. $24. That's pretty reasonable. Let's see if there's a Robo 2306. Nothing really stands out except the look of these motors just on a first glance. They might be good motors. They might be mediocre motors. They're a little pricier if you're going to take a punt on them. But they do have some pretty flashy colors. So there you go. 32 grams. That's respectable. The next product I want to look at is this flight controller, and it's made by Hakrc. Have you heard of them?
I have not.
I have not either.
Rumors or words about them, but I don't really know anything about the company or
do tell
anything about what they produce.
What rumors have you heard?
I just mean that they exist pretty much.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I also know they exist. Yeah. It has a pretty okay layout. I might have actually looked at this in a previous video. I'm not 100% sure, but what really makes this stand out to me, and the reason I'm mentioning it today, is the price. An F7 flight controller for $30 is like unimaginable. In fact, suspiciously low. But if you want a F7 flight controller for $30, this is it. I can't think of another one.
And I haven't gone over the layout, but the pads look like there's tons of options for this flight controller.
Yeah, it's got a lot of pads. Vias on each pad. These little holes help keep you from lifting pads, basically. I don't think those are through holes. I think those are vias. I don't know why there's an S-bus pad on an F7. That shouldn't be necessary.
Doesn't make any sense, yeah.
I guess there's no inversion issues. Why do you have an S-bus pad? So there's some confusing choices here. They got user 1 and user 2 already broken out. Oh, did they predefine user modes? That's interesting. But yeah, at a price of $30, I'm extremely like the F7. Depending on which F7 chip you get, the F7 chip alone can be like $10. Now they're not using that chip, obviously, but at a price that low, I'm extremely suspicious of the quality. But there's a lot of people out there who are willing to take a punt on it, and if that's you, then this is the flight controller for you. So what do you say we run through a couple cameras? And this is basically just look, this exists, because you really can't judge a camera without actually looking at the quality of the video. But look, this exists. Runcam released Racer 4, so version 4 of their Runcam Racer line. What do you know about that?
I think it would be remiss to not bring up the Hakrc situation with the Runcam Racer 4.
That's a good point. Go ahead.
The Runcam Racer 4 has the ability to plug a DJI Air unit or Vista into it, basically underneath when you unscrew it. And Hakrc got really upset about that, claims that they have the only rights to do this, and claim that in a future software update, in some way or another, they will be blocking the ability to use this camera.
Yeah, And you wouldn't know that to look at it because it looks just like an analog camera. But if you take the back plate off, there's a plug for a DJI camera plug, and you can hook it up to a Vista. Caddx claims that they have the exclusive, and DJI backed him up on this, that Caddx has the exclusive right to manufacture DJI compatible cameras. And it's like, well, you can't stop me. Like, you can say that this is unauthorized, but you can't stop me.
So they're also claiming they copied the chipset and they copied the firmware as well.
Let's all just take a moment to chuckle at two different Chinese companies arguing with each other about which one cloned the other one. But if here's the question that I have. So Caddx has said that they, in a future firmware update, will be able to lock the Racer 4 out and prevent it from working. But if Runcam copied the Vistas or the Nebula's secret code, how could they lock out the Racer 4 without also locking out the Nebula? That's the thing I don't get.
I'm on the same page as you. I don't really understand how that would happen or what mechanism they would use. I believe I read something about there's a UID that has to match, and I can't imagine how you would block a UID if all the previous Caddx cameras have that UID. It doesn't really make sense. So
you got to wonder, though, does each individual Caddx camera have its own UID, or do all Caddx cameras share the same UID?
And maybe that's verified by the air unit somehow?
Maybe they could just have a blacklist. They could figure out that, I don't know how they would do it.
I don't know.
So I guess it's theoretically possible that Caddx could block one UID and it would make one person in the world's Nebula stop working. But if Runcam used that UID on all of their cameras, they could then block all the cameras. Yeah,
so maybe Caddx has a historical list of all the UIDs they've ever put on a camera or something, and maybe they can use that as a whitelist.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah. So there's a lot we don't know about the underlying mechanism, but what we do know is that Caddx threatened to blacklist the Racer 4. And that means that if you buy the Racer 4 and intend to use it with a DJI camera, there may come a future firmware update where it stops working. But if you intend to use it as an analog camera, then who really cares? I've never really loved the Racer line personally, although other people who I respect like it. Like Evan Turner uses the Racer Nano, I believe. And I'm like, it seems like that's such a bad light handling, but he likes it, so.
Yeah, I have the Racer 2 and a 3-inch. Seems pretty good.
There you go. See? No accounting for taste. How about the Foxeer Predator? You ever use those?
I have not. I've seen a lot of good reviews of them, though.
Yeah.
Great things about the Predator.
I go back and forth. The original Predator had a blue cast to it, and I always thought the colors on the Predator were a little screwy. But this is V5. Maybe they've gotten better. Let's look at Gal Kremer's review. Oh yeah. Show me video. There we go. Let's see how it looks. Racer 4. Racer 4 looks okay until you go from dark into light, and then the transition from dark to light falls apart, in my opinion. Yeah, it looks okay. Micro 5, Nano 5, Micro 4. Little bit of a color cast up here. I don't know. I probably want to compare it to a Phoenix or a. Doesn't look bad though.
I was just gonna say it looks good. I think it looks acceptable for sure.
Yeah. Don't the Predators have super low latency?
I might be the toothless. I'm not sure, actually.
Looks like they're selling it in a pad version. If you like to solder and don't like plugs, you can save a little weight, a little size by soldering it on. That's kind of cool. So that's the Predator Nano. Oh, that's a Nano. That's a 14 millimeter camera. That's a pretty good image for a Nano cam. I'll say that. Here's the micro version of the same thing. Presumably the same camera. So RushFPV has a new line of flight controllers coming out. I've always liked RushFPV's video transmitters being really good build quality for the money. Let's see what they've got. The F722 plus 50 amp 30 by 30 and VTX. 50 amp for DJI and without the VTX. So it's $90 without the VTX. It's $125 with the VTX for either DJI or analog. $90. What do you think?
It doesn't seem so bad. Definitely is the premium category, I would think.
I agree. $90. That's 45-ish bucks, $40 maybe for the, is that an F7? It's an F7?
Yep.
40-ish, $45 for an F7 flight controller, and another 40-ish, $45 for the ES or BL32 ESC. It's not bad.
Does that, I have to say, that flight controller looks horrible to work on. Is that only pins or?
Yes. So is this the 20 millimeter version? Hang on. Is the 30 or the 20? This might be the 20. Dimensions. No, 36.5. 30. Oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah, no, kill me. Good point. I thought this was the 20 millimeter version, so I was going to forgive it for only having pins, plugs. But it's a 30 millimeter.
Can't say I understand that choice, because you could easily add, I mean, I don't know what the cost is to add vias and stuff, but it seems like you could just put pads on there.
Yeah. Is it stacking? Also, that's another thing. No, okay. So it doesn't use stacking pins. That would be a deal breaker for me. But it does have a regular plug. Yeah, Rush does this. They do this on their tiny flight controllers, and it's okay, because on little ones you just don't have a lot of room for pads. Although, to be fair, some 20 millimeter flight controllers do have pads. I guess again, there's somebody out here who's going to love this.
Sure. If you're the kind of person who wants that plug and play solution, I think there are definitely people like that. Then sure, this looks good. But also, like, are you going to have a receiver that has the same end? You're going to have to do some soldering somewhere.
Exactly. So what bugs me about this is if they ship it with all of the plugs that I'm going to need pre-made, then it saves me time. Sure. But if not, then I have to splice wires. And I would always rather solder to a pad than splice wires.
Yeah. I don't ever feel comfortable splicing wires, because it never feels quite right. You feel like you're almost there, but it's not a wire, And
it's just ugly.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Rush. I think Rush does ship with some pre-made headers. Like I've seen in their 20 millimeter F7 stack, it comes with some headers. Obviously, it's going to come with a VTX header because they sell the VTX. But like if you were doing a DJI build, I could see it, because you're going to plug into the DJI Air unit. You're going to plug in, and you're just going to be ready to go. But for an analog build, this is
where's that header though? Because that's a 6-pin header, isn't it?
That's a good question. It looks like this is the same picture. This looks like the wrong picture.
Just the wrong picture. Okay.
I think this is the wrong. I think that's the analog. Yeah, camera, VCC cam menu. This is no, but it says right there F722 digital. Where's the DJI header on it? Good question. I mean, presumably it's there. Why is there a camera header if it's for DJI digital?
Maybe that was a Photoshop job where they put digital on the top of that board.
Doesn't add up. This is my new choice for my personal portable multimeter. Folds up, flat, small. I don't know, $15. Available at it's available at Bang. It's on my Ultimate FPV shopping list. FPVknowitall.com. There's tools. It's available at Race Day Quads, and oh, look at that. Yeah, Race Day Quads has it. Yeah, there it is. Banggood has it. Amazon has it. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, folds up nice. I like to see it folded up like that. It's not very obvious.
Yeah. So it fits down. It easily slides into a bag, and it's totally self-contained. What's your opinion on the Xiaomi Wow Stick?
I have one of these. I love it because it does 90% of the work for you. It doesn't torque all the way down, but you have to help it torque, at least in my experience. However, it's super convenient. And then also I've noticed that if you take the bit out, you can do 20 by 20 stack nuts with the like the inside, like where the bits fit into. And it just seems super convenient to work with.
Okay. Yep. A lot of people feel that way. I hate changing bits. So I've spoken about this previously. I wanted to hear the other side of the argument. I'm unconvinced. But if you
here's what I'm going to say this. I think to me this is similar as the using screws in your props for simply the fact of not, like doing push on 65 millimeter props versus screwing in 65 millimeter props.
Yeah.
A lot of people say they don't like to take the time to change the screws out, to change the props out. But for me, it's like, how much time are you flying versus how much time you're changing screws? I just don't see it as that big of a deal, that sort of thing is where I'm thinking. I don't mind changing a couple bits to have a convenient system where I'm not twerking my hand around constantly to do the twisting and stuff like that.
I have, especially like the 36 millimeter long stack screws. You're just like, and you kind of wish you had something like this. How is the torque on it? Will it do like a stack screw? I mean, it won't finish it, but will it get it most of the way in?
It gets it most of the way in. Yeah. You're just doing the last, I would say maybe 5%, maybe 3%, on a stack screw, 1% maybe. But yeah, it's just like last little bit, last turn and a half.
Are the bits quality or do they strip out?
I have not stripped a bit yet, which is surprising because most Chinesium bits I strip pretty quickly.
All right. Now this is a little thing. I love this because I think it's a really clever little solution. This is a $16, 60 watt, 4S only. Damn. I only just now noticed that. It's a USB-C based charger, and you basically just plug your battery in and it goes. But it only does up to 4S.
Really cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if do you think you can do 6S off the USB bus?
Well, I mean, just charge slowly.
Yeah, that's
true. You could do it. It just charged slowly.
So how fast does this charge a 4S battery?
Well, 60 watts will do 1C easy on like a 1500 milliamp hour. It'll do 60 watts will do 1C on that. Yeah, too bad that it's 6 amps. Yeah, it'll do 6 amps. Well, 6 amps or 60 watts. Disappointed that it only goes to 4S though, but there's a person out there who that's the right thing for. I also kind of wish it charged through the balance plug only. I like to have the option to charge through balance plug only if I have an oddball battery, but it is safer to plug in the XT62. Is it ISDT or is it URUAV? Because those aren't the same company.
Looks like they're both on the box.
Oh my God. Okay, that's confusing the crap out of me.
Or is this like a collaboration?
I have no idea. I'll tell you what though, this is not, sorry Drone Camps RC, this is not the LiPo charger of the future. Shut up. Drone Camps, go. That's not, no it's not. JHMCU LiPo Killer. And there's this one here is the LiPo Sucker. This is XT60 only. This is XT60 and XT30.
But that's a killer, I think, instead of a...
Yeah. Discharge to 0 volts. This one, storage voltage. I see. Don't get those mixed up. That's why one is red.
Yep.
One is not.
Yeah, I think they're great. I think they're the easiest thing in the world because so many people, I think personally, from what I've seen from my friends and stuff, a lot of people don't storage charge when they should. And this kind of just like makes it super easy. I have 5 of these in a box and I take my LiPos in at the end of the day, and the ones I don't use, I plug them in, drop them in the bat safe and close it up. Yeah. And it's just so easy, I'm
pretty sure Race Day Quads sold one of these not too long ago and it was like $11. And I was like, at $11, you might buy a couple. But now JHM, I mean, like, it's not like it's rocket science to design one of these. JHMCU coming in at $5 price point. And at $5, you could buy like 5 or 6 and just keep them around and discharge your packs. They take forever. They take like days to discharge the pack, but they do get it down there. 3 to 6X selectable via button push. Okay, that's don't get that wrong.
Yeah, but that's better than the RDQ liposuctions were only one type. So
oh
like
my God, for real?
Was like it was like a 4S and that's it.
Oh wow. Well, here's a continuing with the odds and ends. Here's a battery checker. $15 for a little battery checker. Got a nice it looks like aluminum, maybe steel case. Probably not aluminum, right? Got a cute little interface. I don't know. It's not blowing me away, but $15 for a cute little battery checker. Comes in different colors. I don't know. What do you think?
Looks like a cute little battery checker.
Yeah. Just curious how accurate it is. I mean, I use the ISDT battery checker, but it's like $60 for the battery checker. And a lot of people feel like that's pretty unreasonable. I like that it shows you individual cells though, not just the whole. I don't like that it shows you all the cells at once instead of scrolling through them like some of the cheap ones do.
Yeah, that's the one I have. You have to scroll through each cell. So definitely this is a lot better.
Really lets you eyeball if one of the cells is off. So Race Day Quads is carrying the Source 2 frame. That's the racing version of the TBS Source 1. If you want to order that in the United States or if you shop at Race Day Quads, you can get it there. So not a lot to say there. And the Luminar Axie HD patch is a new product that came out. I have a video coming out about this just as soon as it's off back order, because I don't want to put the video out when no one can actually buy it. But it did better than the stock antennas. That's what I'll say. You were the one who actually reminded me that this existed. What did you want to say about this?
It just seems like a good option over, a lot of people use the X2 Airs or X Airs. Mm-hmm. And NERC specifically was packing this thing because it seems like it did pretty well versus the X Airs, and they put it in a bag real easy. So, yeah, NERC did say he would keep his X Airs, but the many things he could do with these, which I could definitely see.
Yeah, I think the big thing about these is I like that it's low profile because you can slide it right in your bag. But I also, with those big honking antennas, I worry about breaking the SMA connector because there's just so much hanging off of them. Yeah. And these being so trim really appeal to me. One gotcha, though, that I discovered, if you have an analog mod, you can't stick it on the front.
Oh, right.
You've changed out your faceplate.
I have the UAV for the side, so.
That will work. That will work. So that is going to bring us to the end of this new product roundup and giveaway. Did you forget about the giveaway? I do a giveaway every month. We got to figure out what product that we covered this month that we're going to give away. And I don't know. Like, what should we give away this month? Plenty? You have any ideas?
I think it has to be Ghost.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. Ghost is new. Anybody could use it. Like, if we get Ghost, you could just put it on any of your quads. I mean, I guess you have to have a radio that is a JR module bay, but most people have that. Yeah, okay. Okay, I like it. ImmersionRC Ghost will be coming to vendors in the next couple weeks. We're going to give away, it's $150 for the Ghost module and 3 receivers. $50 times, let's do 4 of them. We'll give 4 of those away. Instructions for how to enter the giveaway are down in the video description. Do not leave a comment. That's not how to do it. There's a link in the video description that you have to click, and you have to put your information into a little form on a website. That's how you enter the giveaway. Full details of the giveaway are down in the video description below. Links to all the products we covered are down in the video description below. They are affiliate links, as I mentioned. And you know what else is going to be in the video description below, Blunty?
What's that?
A link to your YouTube channel.
All right.
Thank you so much for coming out and helping me out here, adding a little flavor.
Of course. I really appreciate you inviting me on.
Yeah, for sure. Anything you want to tell people a little bit about what you do over there?
Sure. I'm pretty active over on your Discord as a know-it-all. I try to help people out on a regular basis with any of their troubleshooting issues, and I'm trying to kind of extend that to YouTube. So I did a news video about shark bite, and I did a troubleshooting video with some ESC stuff. So I'm going to try to work more in that direction, and hopefully we can help people get flying. That's kind of my ultimate goal, is help people get flying.
Well, I really like the content that you're making. It reminds me of the kind of content that I try to make. So that's one of the reasons I invited you to come on out and just hang out with me for a couple hours. But wow, like 2 hours and 15 minutes so far. So yeah, thank you so much for all your time this afternoon. And that's going to do it for this video. Happy flying, everybody. Yeah. What are you still doing here? The video's over. Do you watch all the videos all the way to the end? Wow. You are a super fan. Thank you. That actually helps the channel a lot when you watch the videos all the way to the end. YouTube loves that. You know what else YouTube loves? When you subscribe. Or when you join my Patreon for as little as $2 a month, or more if you feel like I've earned. Actually, YouTube doesn't like you to join my Patreon. They don't get a cut of that.